Hello everyone, my name is Juan, I'm 31 years old, and as you may guess from my name and the way I try to speak English, I come from Spain. I live right now in Belgium because I came here to study physics and to do a PhD on theoretical cosmology. And right now I'm doing the best job I can imagine, which is teaching physics to high school students. Now, me myself, I believe in God, I'm a Catholic, but I have a lot of friends who are atheists, who, well, both on theoretical level, also theoretical atheists, people who are very convinced that there is no God, have a strong opinion about it, and can argue about it and so forth. But I also have a lot of friends who are what you could call practical atheists, so people who just say, okay, God, the supernatural things that I really don't care about religion, I live my life. And so in practice they are materialists, so to speak. So okay, I believe in what I can see. There is matter, energy, the things that science can teach us, the natural sciences, and that's all there is. In practice, I'm not interested in all this stuff about God and the soul and all these things. And so I decided, after having a lot of conversations, to make a couple of videos for people who are in this situation. They don't really believe in God, but have come in contact with Christianity and have perhaps a little bit of interest on knowing, okay, why would I even consider being a Christian? Why would I even bother thinking about God? So this is the idea in this video. Try to show what are some of the key messages of Christianity and why it could make sense to be Christian. So for this first video, I wanted to talk about two important questions that could serve as a motivation for thinking about these topics. And these are two questions that I think every person at some point or another in your life will think about them. So the first one is, what is the meaning of life? There are different ways of presenting this question. You could say, what are we made for? What is the goal of life? Who am I? What are we? So these are questions that I think at some point everybody asks himself or herself. And then the other question, a bit related to this one, is what is the meaning of suffering? How should I react when I encounter suffering in my life, which is something that everybody encounters at some point or another. So these are the questions I would like to give some thoughts about, both from the Christian perspective as from the more materialistic perspective. Good. So concerning the first question, what is the meaning of life? I would say the key message of Christianity about this is we are children of God. Okay, that is what Jesus Christ came to deliver to us as the key message. There is a God who is the cause of all what exists, and this God has not forgotten about humanity, but he cares about humanity, and he loves us as a good father loves his children. Right? We are children of God. So this is why, for instance, the main prayer for a Christian is the Our Father. That's what Jesus taught to his disciples, the Our Father. God is our Father. And our goal in life is precisely to correspond to this love of God. Okay, it's what is sometimes called the first commandment. Love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. So this is what we are made for loving God. And not only this, but what Jesus also taught us is that whatever we do to other people who are our brothers and sisters, since we are children of the same Father, whatever we do for others, we are also doing it for God. So loving others is another way of loving God also. Good. And so here, if you ask what is the Christian message about what are we made for, what is the meaning of life, the goal of life, we are made for loving God and others. And so, as long as you are doing this, even if you are the greatest loser according to any stupid measure of loserness, no? As long as you are loving God and people around you, you are big in the eyes of God, right? And you are fulfilling the goal of your existence, right? Good. And about the second question, what is the meaning of suffering? So, what did Jesus have to say about suffering to his followers, to Christians? Well, I will start by saying one thing that Jesus did not say at all. No? And what he did not say is, whoever believes in me and whoever follows me, and if you try to do good into others, no, then you will have an easy life. Okay, no suffering, everything will be easy, always happy, and so forth. Well, this was not the message of Jesus, no? that your life will be easy if you do good. It's quite the opposite. You know? There are examples of people who do a lot of good unto others and who really love the people around them, but who suffer like you cannot imagine. No? That's and the prime example of this is Jesus himself. So after a whole life of preaching fraternal love and to telling that you should forgive your enemies, that you should love each other and so forth, he died on a cross, no, like a criminal, right? He was killed as the worst of criminals after a life of doing good unto others. So Jesus did not come to remove suffering completely, no, from earth, but he came to give a supernatural meaning to this suffering. So we as Christians, what we believe is that it is precisely through this suffering of Christ that we achieve forgiveness, that we receive forgiveness for all the times that we fail to fulfill the goal of our existence, of loving others, for all the times that we hurt other people, that we love ourselves more than the others, and by this we end up being egoistic, no? or as I said, hurting others. So it is through the suffering of Christ that we are redeemed. No? That's why we say Jesus is the Savior of humanity, the Redeemer. And not only this, but also we ourselves, through our suffering, right, we can unite ourselves to this offer, to this suffering of Christ on the cross, and we can give a supernatural value to our own suffering. We can be co-redeemers, no, of humanity. Good. So this would be like I think the essential message of Christianity concerning these two questions, and it is a message that has given strength to a lot of people, no, through the ages, to live fulfilling lives of loving each other. So I have one example I would like to give. Is the example of Pater Damian, Father Damien, no, from Belgium, who is a guy who went to an island full of people with with lepers. He went to Molokai, and there he spent his life serving these people and helping them. And at some point, he even himself, he became sick. He got lepra because he was living, no, with all these people who were sick and helping them and so forth. And there, I have a passage which for me is really striking, no? So it's a passage of a letter that he wrote in the year 1887, and there he says, look at this, no? After becoming sick himself, he says, I remain eternally grateful to God for this favor. Becoming sick. It seems to me that this disease will shorten and narrow the road that leads me to our beloved homeland, to heaven. In this hope, I accept my illness as my exceptional cross. I try to carry it like Simon of Cyrene, in the footsteps of the Lord. So you see, this message of Christianity gave him strength to help these people during his whole life, and to even give his life for these people he was helping. It's incredible. Good. And then, so for the second part of the talk, I would like to look at these same two questions, but from the point of view from a materialistic worldview of life, of saying like, there is no God, there is only matter and laws of physics, and that's it, and what the natural sciences teach us about the universe. That's all there is. So concerning the first question, what is the meaning of life? I think the answer from a materialistic point of view is life has no meaning. Okay? Life is meaningless. So we are nothing more than evolved monkeys, and we are most probably not even free, because our body is made of particles, made of matter, which follows laws of physics. So you don't get to decide what the laws of physics do. We are not free. And anyhow, even if we are free in some sense, whatever you do during your life is, in the long run, absolutely irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Both for you, yourself, because at some point you will die and you will exist no more. No? It's done. So whatever you've done before that will have no consequence for you after you die, because you don't exist anymore. So whatever you've done has no consequences whatsoever. And also, you could think, well, perhaps for the coming generations, for the other people, okay, good, but also everybody is going to die at some point. No? As time goes on, we approach what some people call the heat death or the thermal death of the universe. So we approach a state of thermodynamic equilibrium. So most probably all the atoms in our galaxy at some point will get sucked up by a supermassive black hole and will come out after a long time as Hawking radiation, as the pure thermal radiation. The universe will look exactly the same as if humanity had never existed. No, whatever humanity does, on the long run, if you wait long enough, it's gone. No? There are no traces of it. So think with whichever definition of meaningless that you might have, the human life comes very close to that definition. It's completely meaningless. There's no meaning to our lives. And so concerning the second question, what is the meaning of suffering from a materialistic point of view? So suffering is simply a mechanism that evolution has developed to bring us from a situation which is bad for our survival into a situation which is good. So for instance, you need food in order to stay alive, and so when you have been a long time without eating, you feel hungry, right? And you want to, this feeling is not pleasant, no? You suffer a bit, you are hungry, and this brings you to look for food, no? and to eat so that you stay alive. The same with being thirsty, the same when you approach something which is too hot, then you feel pain, and in that way you remove your hand from something which is very hot before you get severely burned. No? Good, so there is no supernatural meaning to suffering. No? It's just this, just electrical impulses in your body that have the reaction that you avoid certain things, and that's it. Now the downside of this is that sometimes in life you can end in a situation where you are suffering but without any hope of being able to get into a better situation. You can get a terminal illness, or you can psychologically, even if it's not true that things cannot get better, you can have this subjective feeling that you are very deep in a depression, and that whatever you do will not bring you into a better situation. And so then you are suffering in a completely absurd way, because the goal of suffering is to bring you into a better situation. If you think this is not possible, you are suffering in a completely meaningless way. So from a materialistic point of view, in these kind of situations, we have nothing better to offer than to say, okay, in this situation, the only thing you can do is to end your life. No, I mean, it's hard, but it's so okay. You might say I'm getting a bit dramatic. No, I mean Yeah, but I do this with the reason why I do this is because I see a lot of people who say the reason I don't believe in God is that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and this is something I agree. No, so they say, in order to believe in God, there is a God, that there is a supernatural reality, and so forth, I need to see very strong evidence. And since I have not seen it, I remain in the default position of not believing in these things. And I say, okay, that's a valid point of view, but what I wanted to argue with these last things is that the materialistic worldview also entails a whole lot of extraordinary claims, right? It's the consequences of materialism are brutal, but really brutal. So when you think about it and when you try to be coherent with a materialistic worldview, the view of life that you get is quite radical, no? I mean, so it's not at the default position, or it's not less extraordinary than the view of someone who believes in God. That's the point I wanted to convey. No? So for me, a better life philosophy, in my view, would be, look, I'm going to live as if God exists, no? Until I'm utterly convinced that He doesn't. No? I mean, this is for me at least an even valid position, and that's what I would encourage people, at least who are in a more atheistic position, to consider, no? What are the consequences of my worldview when you bring them through a logical path to the last consequences. What does this entail? Good. And then for the last point that I wanted to talk about in this video is that, good, you might say, after listening to what I have told, you might say, okay, I agree more or less with what you've said. Okay, probably no, you have a lot of criticism, but imagine that you say, I agree, but still, so you can say, yeah, believing in God, it has some value, life has meaning and so forth, so I see the positive things in that. But if there is a bit of a rebel in you, as I think there should be in every person, you will still say, well, even if this sounds good, this message of Christ and everything, I would prefer to face a hard truth, the consequences of a hard truth, than to believe in beautiful lies, just to feel good. And a lot of people, I think, have this view of believers that they just believe all this nonsense to feel good. But I mean, I don't want that. I don't want to believe something just to feel good. So this is why in the next videos I will try to give some arguments for why I think that rationally it makes sense and there are good reasons to believe in God. This will be the topic of the next video. So if you are interested, stay tuned and we see each other in the next video.